Hello, welcome. I've just got a short video on some of the pros and cons of this layout. When I was making it, obviously I made a few mistakes, things like that. It didn't plan out exactly how I wanted it to, and I think one of the main mistakes is like the size. Trying to get everything I've wanted in 4x2 is quite difficult on a sort of a countryside layout with a river scene. I mean, originally it was going to be a canal, but I opted really for the river after some comments, and they says, no, it doesn't look like a canal, canals are straight, and I went, they are. So this is a meandering river, and it worked out better because it is quite a bit wider than what a canal would have been. So that was actually a really good recommendation, and sort of with the obviously you come straight from a curve into a bridge, which isn't ideal either. Would have been nice to have had a little bit more straight before I got into that bridge, but I had to get the bridges there so I could get points in after the bridge, just to give a little bit more interest to the layout with a few points, so you could swap tracks or go into the side-ins and things like that. So it would have been nice if I could move these points further back here, even on the bridge, but if I'd have moved them on the bridge, obviously I can't put point motors on there then. But did I really need point motors? Did I really need a control panel? Probably not. With a layout this small I could have just moved them, but if I ever wanted to sort of just sit there and change a few tracks and things like that, then a control panel is great. And I'll just come on to that mistake. The control panel, if you're going to sit, you've got your controls here. I'm running it analog at the moment with these two trains, and I haven't got long enough arms to reach the switch panel. So the switch panel, theory, should have been here. So, or my control should have been there. You know, I could extend the wires and then you can sit that side and then run it, which is fine, you know, but I think I needed to have planned and put them all together, and I have done that many times, and I just don't know why I didn't this time. I think it's because it was on a bit of a hill just in the corner there, and it made an ideal spot to put the control panel. Although if you're standing at the layout you can't see what, so it would have been better to have made the control panel flat, and then I could have put it anywhere really. I could have put it on a connector, so I could have just plugged it in at the front or the back, you know, in case you wanted to run it that way. So I mean, that is some of the things that I should have planned out a little bit better and thought about it when I was going to operate the layout and things like that. So but it doesn't really matter too much. It's just nice to see some locomotives running around. You can just use it as a demo layout, because that's, I mean, I originally built it for a test layout, so you could test trains, test them going over the points, will they stall, but it got a little bit further than a test layout. I didn't want it to be just a board with some track on it, because it just doesn't really inspire what you're trying to show, and a full scenic layout really does look much better, you know. I did knock a few of the people off the station when I was doing the track cleaning, so that's one of the things that I need to be better on. When I clean the track, I've got to just make sure and I'm not making my hand knocking into pieces and things like that. It's quite funny. I've got them all in a bag ready to refit, and they didn't rip any of the platform textures, so that was quite good. Yeah, and another thing on the platforms, actually, while I'm thinking about it, building them on a curve is great. Platforms, you know, very rarely on the straight pieces of track, but the problem is this goes into first radius, and you've got like second radius and first radius here, and there's third radius around there, first and second, and then second and first here. you know, because of the size, because I needed to get it into this sort of size so I could have a bit of a dog leg piece there. So you've got a gap between the platform and the coaches if you're really looking at it. If you're looking at it from this angle, it's actually not that bad. So you can see, and it sort of doesn't look too drastic, but there is quite a big gap then sort of on the curves. And I've tried to make that as tight as I physically can, but obviously you've got to leave enough space for coaches. And same with the tunnel mouse. I found that the Pico ones too high, so I chopped a piece off the bottom, but because I'm putting it on a curve, I could only really reduce it by a small amount because of the way the coaches go into a tunnel. Tunnels would never normally be built like that on a curve, so the tunnel would have been great to have put about here, and then it would have sort of, but I would have lost too much of the layout doing it that way. I tried to do it on the one coming out, so that was a lot more straighter, so it comes out and then dog legs across over the other bridge, and that just gives a lot more interest than just a straightforward oval. And I think if you probably remember, I think from the early episodes, if you watch those, it's like I made the layout slightly bigger because originally was going to have that as the front of the layout on that side, and the station was going to be there where the dog leg piece was, so it sort of came in and around the platform, so I could have fitted that on a 4 foot by 2 foot then. I extended this by another inch so I could actually put the platforming on here, and I'm glad I did, because you needed a little bit of a gap between the track and the edge of the baseboard. I mean, it'd be ideal if it got even a lot more between the edge of the baseboard, because it just gives it that more realistic feel. I mean, I could have then sloped this down sort of at the front, so it gave a lot more feel to a real location rather than, you know, like a layout on a board, you know. So it's really this size just so it was portable, you know, more than anything. I just wanted something to get some trains running, really, and sort of all it achieved. So it's been nice to have got a few locos running on this layout, and really, that, I think, I'm not sure if there's anything else I can do anymore, you know. So I did advertise this for sale, and it has now sold, so the new buyer will be coming to collect this soon. So I hope you enjoyed watching this series, and I hope the new buyer enjoys running trains on it. So I'm going to just wrap everything up now, and I'm going to wish you a very good evening and a very good rest of the day whenever you're watching this, and hopefully I'll see you on the next video and you'll see the next project. I'm not going to give you any spoilers yet, but there will be 2 projects coming, an N-gauge and a 00. So, but that's the only spoiler I'm going to give you. So, but anyway, take care, and if you want to subscribe, please subscribe. You know, it doesn't cost you anything, and it just helps this channel. But anyway, yeah, I'm just waffling on again. Have a good evening, and hopefully I'll see you again. You take care.